Okay, so today we'll start a new chapter. So in this chapter, we'll discuss about the traffic engineering. There are different characteristics of the traffic engineering and different components of the traffic engineering. So basically, if we ask about the traffic engineering, then traffic engineering is the phase of transportation engineering that deals with the planning, geometric design, and traffic operation of the roads, highways, and their networks, terminals, etc. So basically, the traffic means that road users. Okay, and based on these characteristics, different parameters of the road design is decided. Now, if we go for the objective of the traffic engineering, so first objective is safety is the primary objective. Okay, so for the traffic operation, suitable movement of the vehicle on the road, we need to understand different traffic characteristics and whatever traffic studies are available over there, that all these traffic studies are required for the safe operations of the vehicle and user over the road. Then speed is a very important parameter. Okay, and all the geometric features of the road is designed based on the speed of the vehicles. Okay, then comfort condition is also important, and based on the comfort condition, as we have already discussed, we are designing that valley curve, and for the horizontal curve also we will need to think about the comfort condition. So basically, the comfort conditions that also depend on different traffic parameters. Then convenience means suppose a particular area is there. Okay, suppose a particular area is there, and within that area there are different location which you need to connect. Okay, now, as traffic engineering is basically planning portion is also included in the traffic engineering, so you have to think about the shortest path to connect all these routes. Okay, and your road should pass through most important position within your locations. Okay, so for these reasons, it will increase the convenience of the user to use the road which is available nearer to them. Then economy is try to provide best possible system for the money. So there is little in modern transportation system that can be termed cheap, but highway and other transportation system involves huge construction, maintenance, and operating expenditure. Now there are different expenditure, but as this transportation sector is associated with different development project, therefore it will also enhance the economy of the country, because of the transportation system the connectivity over a place increased, and as the connectivity increase, business development of that particular area will also increase. Now, environmental compatibility. This environmental compatibility can be provided using sustainable transportation. Okay, all the transportation system has some negative effect, but we need to think about the comparative study that from particular field of transportation which is much more much more have less impact on the environment. So in this way, we have to think about this, and we have to make our transportation system a sustainable one. Now, components of the traffic system. So if we discuss about the components, there are road users. Now, in the road users, generally drivers, pedestrians, bicyclists, and passengers. These are the road users. Okay. Then coming that vehicles. These vehicles is primarily divided into two parts. Either it may be a private vehicles or it may be a commercial vehicles. Okay, then roadways. Roadways, it may be local street or highways. Then control devices, that is signs, signals, marking, islands and intersections, and parking facilities. So these are the components of the traffic system. So basically, in the following chapter, we will get to know about all these things. Okay. Now, this study of the traffic engineering may be divided into six major sections. So, first one is traffic characteristics, and in the traffic characteristic, road user characteristics and vehicular characteristic. Now, in the road user characteristic, if we discuss about the road user characteristic, in that case, that human behavior characteristic will also include. Now, various roles of human are such as driver, pedestrian, cyclist, etc. exist in the transportation system. Now, as the vehicle cannot drive by its own, somebody have to drive it. Therefore, with the movement of the vehicle, some uncertainty is also associated because that vehicles are driven by the users, okay, or the drivers, and they have different psychological and other characteristics. Okay, so among the different characteristics, these characteristics are divided into four parts. So these important road user characteristics are physical characteristics, mental characteristics, psychological characteristics, and environmental characteristics. Now, if you look for the physical characteristic, in the physical characteristic, generally vision, hearing, strength, and the reaction of the road users are important. These are the physical characteristics. Now, in the vision, this vision include the acuity of the vision, peripheral vision, and eye movement, whether he can move his eye properly, then glare vision, how the driver can see through a glare recovery, that if he is affected by the glare, in that case how much time he will take to recover from the glare, then depth of judgment, how deeply he can judge the situation. Now, this depth of judgment is very much important for the drivers because in some cases the driver needs to change his lane, the driver needs to stop the vehicles, or it overtake another vehicle. So in such situation, the judgment of the driver is very much needed because he will analyze the situation and after that only he can move forward. Okay, now if his judgment is not good, in that case, some accident may happen. Now, hearing is also important parameter. Then strength for the normal vehicles, personal vehicle, it is not an important factor in general. Uh, but lack of strength may make parking maneuvers difficult, or sometimes in different situations, for the heavy vehicles, that will make it difficult. Then coming to the mental characteristics, the important mental characteristic of the road users include skill, intelligence, experience, knowledge, and literacy. Now, skill means his driving skill. Intelligence means that perceptions of the outer environment, uh, and do suitable actions to to enhance the driving skills of the driver, then experience, how much experience he does have, then knowledge about the traffic rules, okay, and literacy. So these are the mental characteristic. Then psychological characteristic. In the psychological characteristic, there are different factors like anger, fear, superstition, impatience, anxiety, etc. Now, coming to the next portion, that is environmental characteristics. Now, in the environmental characteristics, various environmental conditions will affect the behavior characteristics of the road users. Suppose if it is too much hot, in that case, the road users may feel frustrated. Okay, so therefore, it can be said that with the change in the environment, the behavioral characteristics of the road users is also changed, and that will also affect the vehicle operations on the road. Okay, so these are the in general road user characteristics. Now another thing is in the road users, that is your driver characteristics. Now similarly for the driver characteristics, two main important things are visual activity and reaction process. And these other things are similar to SPI theory that we have already discussed in our second chapter maybe. Okay, then pedestrian characteristics. The pedestrian characteristics is important because in our road system, pedestrian plays an important role, and in most of the intersections, okay, in most of the at-grade intersections, the pedestrian problem is huge, and in many cases, they are responsible for the lower speed of the vehicles within the intersection area. Now, improper interactions between the vehicles and pedestrians forms the most critical safety factor in highway and streets. Okay. Now, generally, the walking speed of a pedestrian is considered as 1.1 to 1.2 meter per second for 85% of the cases. Now, this value is required for the design of different pedestrian elements. Now, in pedestrian analysis, okay, in pedestrian movement analysis, one important term is gap acceptance. Okay, now gap acceptance is the distance between the pedestrian and the vehicle approaching at a time when the pedestrian starts to cross the road. Suppose this is a road, so gap acceptance is the distance between the pedestrian and the vehicle approaching at a time when the pedestrian start to cross the road. Suppose one vehicle is there and one pedestrian, okay, or one road users try to cross the road. So at that moment when the pedestrians start crossing the road, and at that moment the distance between the pedestrians and the vehicle approaching to that portion is called acceptance. So basically this distance is the gap acceptance. So normally for the safe operations, the gap acceptance is considered as 35 meter. Now this is for the normal situation. Now this gap acceptance will affected by different parameters like the width of the road. Now if the width is less, in that case the gap acceptance can also be small because the pedestrians need to cross a shorter distance. Now if the width of the street is higher, in that case gap acceptance should need to be higher. Okay, then another thing is speed of the vehicles. If speed of the vehicle is more, in that case, gap acceptance should also be more. Now, if the speed is less, in that case, gap acceptance can be less. So, like these are the different factors which affect the gap acceptance behavior of the pedestrians. Now coming to the next question is vehicular characteristics. Now in the vehicular characteristics, there are some of the static characteristics and some of the dynamic characteristics. Now what is static characteristics? The characteristics which do not change over time, and dynamic characteristics, the characteristic which changes over a particular time. So they are dynamic characteristics. So in the static characteristics or that are fixed, that are vehicle dimensions, that vehicle dimensions is not changing over a time. Then maximum turning angle of a particular vehicle is also fixed. Then weight of the loaded vehicles, that particular thing is also fixed. It cannot change over time to time. Suppose now at 11:20 the weight of the vehicle is 20 kg. Now whenever the vehicle start moving, and suddenly that weight cannot be 50 kg or 60 kg. Okay, over a time it will be fixed. Then in the dynamic characteristics, there comes power of the vehicles. So this power of the vehicle is changes depending on the different air conditions or topography of the area. Now, if the vehicle is going upward, in that case, power requirement should be higher. If it is going downward, in that case, power requirement should be lower. So basically, this power of the vehicles is changing rapidly to suit the different environment and roadway conditions exist over there. Then speed of the vehicle. The speed of the vehicles is also a dynamic characteristics because it is also changes due to the different road users and traffic characteristics. Then braking characteristics. So in braking characteristics will also changes because braking characteristics is associated with the speed of the vehicles. Now if the speed changes, in that case braking characteristics will also be changed, because in that case it will be related to coefficient of the friction, and you know that coefficient of the friction value will change depending on the different condition like speed of the vehicles, weight of the vehicles, then roughness of the interface between the tire and the road surface, then acceleration and deceleration of the vehicles, that also are dynamic characteristics. Now coming to the vehicle dimensions, this uh, from the vehicle dimensions, two important factors are length and width of the vehicles. So as you already know about the length and width of the vehicle is important to design the width of a particular road or lane, then traffic lane, different traffic lanes, then shoulder parking facility. Okay, so etc. required. Now length is also required to find out the requirement or size required in the parking facility, then what should be the capacity of the road, then designing of the vertical and horizontal alignment, extra widening of the pavement, so etc. are depending on the length and width of the vehicle. Now, height of the vehicle is also important to design underpasses and overpasses. So, there are some standard sizes of the vehicles are given. So, you can just have a look into this. Now, coming to the next question, there are different type of vehicles which you will consider whenever designing a road section. So these are the different vehicle types, and according to the vehicle type, there are different standard weights associated with that vehicle types. Now, weight of the loaded vehicles is affect the traffic and road in different dimension. It affects the design of pavement thickness and gradient. Now that IRC has recommended maximum permissible gross weight and axle weights as follows. These are the table. So basically, considering these weight values, you will design your road section. So this is a type 2, basically a normal truck. Okay, so in that case, your maximum gross weight is 12 tons. Okay, similarly, for type 3, there is 16 tons. Like that, you need to just go for all these parameters, and according to this, you have to design the different road sections parameters. Now, power of vehicle. Now, power of heaviest vehicles govern the limiting values of gradient on the roads. Now, if limiting values of the gradient on the road means, you know what is limiting gradient. Limiting gradient is the maximum gradient which you can safely provide over a particular section of the road. Now, the value of this limiting gradient is depending on the power values of the average vehicles. Now, if the power value is more, in that case, your limiting gradient value you can increase. If it is less, in that case, your gradient should be much more flat. Otherwise, your vehicles with less power cannot overcome that gradient. So, in this way, that gradient that our power value affect the limiting gradient of the road. Now coming to the next portion, speed of the vehicles. Now speed of the vehicles is also important, and it affects different aspects like design of the side distance. Now design of the, if you remember the design of the stopping side distance, the formula was Vt plus V square divided by 2gf. Now see here, the side distance or stopping side distance is associated with the speed of the vehicles. So speed of the vehicles affect the stopping side distance. Similarly, for the overtaking side distance also, your speed is required. Okay. For the super elevation design also, that formula was E plus F equal to V square by GR. In that case also, your speed is required. Okay. And in case of extra widening of the pavement, there also speed is required. So in all the design parameters or geometric parameters, your speed is very important parameter. Then next portion is braking characteristics and efficiency. Now, deceleration and braking characteristics are affected by the braking systems and their efficiency. The braking characteristics affects safety operation, sight distance, spacing between consecutive vehicles, etc. Now coming to the next portion, turning radius and turning path. So let us discuss what is turning radius is. Suppose you are driving a vehicle, and suppose this is the wheel which you will rotate to make the vehicle change its direction. Okay, suppose you turn the wheel in the clockwise direction or anti-clockwise direction maximum, okay, in the maximum limit. So what will happen in that case? The vehicle will start moving in a rounded path. Okay, so if the vehicle start moving in a rounded path, in that case, the total path is called turning path and the radius of the path is called turning radius. Now coming to the next portion, design vehicles. Now, in Indian condition, different types of vehicles are moving on the road. Therefore, if you want to design the road section, in that case, basically it is not possible to analyze all the situations because there are different type of vehicles moving over there. So in that case, what happen? You will decide about one design vehicles. Okay, so design vehicles mean different vehicle classes will converted to the design vehicle. Okay, so that all the types of vehicles are similar whenever you are analyzing something. So that type of vehicle is called a design vehicle. So basically, it is a assumed parameters to calculate different traffic characteristics. Okay, suppose for example, uh, your traffic flow is defined as the number of vehicles which crosses a particular section. Suppose you want to know what is the number of vehicles which crosses a particular section over the road. Now, suppose there are 20 numbers of buses, 5 numbers of cars, 10 numbers of two-wheelers, okay, like that, or 5 numbers of trucks, like that. Now, if you want to find out what is the total number of vehicles, in that case, you cannot easily count all these type of vehicles because this type of vehicles are different from each other. Okay, suppose if you consider about the truck and two-wheelers, the two-wheelers are very much smaller with respect to the truck, so we cannot just simply add up a truck and a two-wheeler. So in that case, what happens, all these type of vehicles will be converted into a signal a single entity. Okay, that single entity is basically nothing but the design vehicle. So, do you have any confusion regarding this? Do you have any confusion? Okay. Okay, so we have another class from 1 p.m. I think. So that class I will take after 15 minutes. Okay, you take a 15-minute break. After that, I will take the class.